Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of My Art is My Voice podcast. I am Rebecca Danger.
I'm Tom Ferry.
What do you got this week?
It's been a busy week. I feel it's been a creatively productive week. I've been playing with clay, and I think what's interesting is that clay is not my expertise or specialty, but it is definitely something I enjoy thoroughly playing with, but I'm realizing I'm kind of in this stage of refinement.
Of technique and skill?
And cleanliness and
in clay,
yeah,
huh?
dry clay makes a lot of dust.
Yeah.
So it's just refinement in the overall finished product. Like again, I'm having to put it together. Like you have to do 100 things before it turns out the way you want.
Yeah. I'm currently in the middle of knitted bears, and I think it's a set of 3, and I think I'm on batch number 6 of 3, and the colors aren't right, and something doesn't come out quite right. And
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of refining, I guess, in that too.
Yeah, and then in the lack of refinement, and then the lack of effort wanting to do the refinement, right? I ended up shaming myself one day for jumping creativity, jumping arts, jumping labels,
mediums, or
whatever. Like, why am I doing this? I should be painting or this and that. And then I kind of realized, I don't think we have to put ourselves in any box. I don't know if any of it matters. Today could be my clay day and tomorrow's my paint day, and I can fit into all of that, and I can honor all of that if that's what I want to do today.
Yeah.
And the clay may not be at the same level as my painting, but that's okay.
Well, maybe it doesn't need to be.
Right.
Yeah, I think that goes back to that whole conversation about what is art and who's to judge. And, I know we've talked about art versus products, and there's a lot of judgment, right?
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, in
even amongst ourselves.
Even within ourselves.
Right.
I think especially within ourselves. If, like you're saying, the refinement, you're obviously looking to execute at a certain level. And so that's judgment within yourself too.
Right.
So it's a wonder if any of us make anything
right.
days, right?
And a lot of the frustration, I think, is just skill development. Like you have to do a number of items before you know all the steps.
Well, and when you are really good at painting, to then take something else on and expect yourself to be really good at it right away.
Right now, right. So with the clay is an interesting one because I think it's really good for me because it's definitely teaching me more about patience. You have drying times, you have leather hard, you have specific stages where things need to be done and executed. And I, at the beginning, found myself overworking the clay. It would start falling apart because I was working it too much.
Yeah.
So that's been good to just kind of take a breath and go, okay, what do we want to do now?
I guess if I think about it, acrylic painting specifically, it's one of the most controlled of the arts, of the mediums.
Yeah. You get a hairdryer.
You can grab a hairdryer or a heat gun or whatever, and definitely speed it up, and you're more in control. So I did oil painting in college, and I was like, nope, because that felt way too out of control for me.
So I remember painting in high school with oil paintings, and that's an interesting one because I hated oil paints.
I do not like them to this day.
Right.
I don't even, the smell of it makes me
Number one, the cleanup just drove me nuts. Everything had to be cleaned so thoroughly. But number 2 was the wait time. It drove me nuts to wait 2 weeks to go back to work.
I would get so frustrated because I was one of those kids that would work ahead in school. And so I get my painting done, a week or 2 weeks before it was due. And then I'm taking it in and smearing it on the way to class because it's still wet. And it's I got this done way ahead of time. It's not like the night before and it's still wet.
Yeah, no, kudos to anybody who has the patience for
absolutely. It's not my medium.
Not my thing.
I say yes to a lot of things, and that's the one I can say no to. That's funny. Yeah, I think though, as a creative, I feel like I'm naturally a curious person, and I think that's a big part of where the creativity comes from. So then I do love tackling clay, a new medium, and kind of as frustrating as it is to have to build those skills, I really enjoy it too.
Right.
Yeah. which is funny.
Yeah, which is funny. Yeah, clay's a cool material.
Yeah.
I've got a couple bigger projects in mind. We'll see if I progress that way.
Have you gotten to glazing yet, or are you still just...
Oh, I actually just did my first glazing yesterday, but it hasn't been through the kiln yet. So we will see.
Okay. Yeah, which will change it significantly.
We will see, because that was another learning curve of like, I didn't expect it to be thick and clumpy and dry instantly. And
the texture of it's so weird before it's fired.
Yeah, the texture is so bizarre.
Yeah.
So hopefully next week I'll have a couple pieces here for the podcast to show what I've been working on. I love the texture of them. I love what's going on.
Yeah.
I think
I love clay too.
I think they are very unique for what I'm doing. So.
It's funny, whenever I bring coffee cups out here, it's like this one keeps it warm, and like I have my one with my initial on it, but most of our cups are all handmade and ceramic in the house. So I probably have a problem actually at this point. So
I haven't jumped on a wheel yet. I don't know. That doesn't interest me as much. It's too. I don't like. I know it's circular, but I don't like a box being around me. Like there's limitations on a wheel that I don't like.
Did I tell you that I bought it's for kids, but it's a teeny tiny pottery wheel for like air dry clay.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to make some stuff for photography. I haven't gotten into it yet, but it's like, this big. And
cool.
I was like,
have you tried it?
Not yet. I haven't pulled it out of the box yet. No, because I'm worried that it's going to be messy and my studio is a mess. And like, it's been a week. I haven't done, I'm laughing because I like knit a mushroom and then it looked bad. So I knit another one and that one looks really good. And then I knit a teeny tiny one for the bears I'm working on. Like and then I made a bag to go on the bear to tuck the mushroom in. So I've done some stuff this week, but it's just been, I don't know. It's the end of the school year and it's a lot life has been going on. And so the tiny mushroom's pretty cute, but so I have the wheel for when I'm ready. But I guess we cleared one table and did a whole photo setup, and I don't know. The studio's a mess. And then I'm like, I don't want to be in there.
Yeah, I cleaned mine yesterday.
Did you?
Yep.
Any particular reason why?
Because I was tired of walking on the paper.
Yeah. That's at this point, like
mine gets pretty messy. I'll be honest. It's just who I am. I accept it for what it is.
Right. I think we've talked about it before.
But if it misses the trash can, I'm not going to pick it up right now.
Mine is every surface in there is covered.
Well,
so to do anything, I have to move things, and then I'm like,
tables and benches just become storage areas for me too.
The horizontal surfaces.
Yep.
Yeah, it's even like we have a folding table as a coffee table in there, and like it was stacked with stuff. It's just like everything's stacked. But then it's a cycle, right? Because then you're like, I'll get to it later. And then, I don't want to go clean up. So then you don't go.
Or I can't stop the creativity now.
Oh, I just moved into the couch.
Right, that's me. I'll just sweep out a little 8x8 area and start the new project.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, I think that's just who we are. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It just is.
I feel like this week has been a week of accepting myself for who I am on a deeper level than normal. And I think it's easy, especially as a mom, to like put your needs aside. And I think, I don't like labeling, and like we talk about spell casting, and I certainly don't think that you need to be like, well, I'm just a messy person. Like you could clean, like, you know what I mean? Like just because, I don't even know what I'm saying, but I think there are some like deeper things. Like for me, like I'm very introverted and everybody's home, and so I don't get a lot of alone time, and then I haven't been coming in the studio because it's messy. So I've been around everybody, and I think it's some of the acceptance of those things that it's like, which is important as a human and a creative and whatever. So it is interesting you mentioned before we started filming, today's the first day of the market we normally do, and I'm kind of like, oh, well, it's always there, because it's easy to fall into habits and patterns, and it seems like I think it's the devil you know versus the devil you know, right? I know what to, more or less what to expect there.
Right,
and,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's comfortable.
Right, right. And I think if you are having like a week of realizing things about yourself, the comfort things feel more important. I feel like I'm rambling, but maybe I'm making sense.
Rambling. I think personal growth is difficult for all of us to understand internally and externally.
Well, I think that's why a lot of people just don't.
Right.
Right? Like,
it's hard to find the words for some of this stuff.
And like to allow the deep feelings to come up when they do, because even if you're, you know, the most like self-aware and what do I want to say, done all the self-work and everything, we just talked to our friend Wednesday about that, like things still come up and you still have to deal with them.
Come up.
Yeah.
You still have to experience it. You still have to feel it. It's still going to trigger you. All of that. The only change moving forward with personal growth is that I may potentially be conscious enough to have an opportunity to make a different choice of how to proceed ahead.
Well, and then I've been working on the fact that I'm a people pleaser, which I actually think is interesting. I was thinking about how that lands in conjunction with being a creative person, and how like we have talked about the art versus product, and like I have just made products for years, and I think there's a lot of that, like the people pleasing can be a positive in some ways because you're thinking about what other people would want, but then it can become really not a good thing for yourself, right? So that's one of the ones I've been working on, is that people pleasing and saying no when I feel like I should say yes. And
Well, and I do believe saying no is people pleasing to ourselves.
It is, but I would rather be uncomfortable and have somebody else comfortable than like it's a.
But I think that uncomfortableness is probably more comfortable to you than being comfortable.
Well, it could be because it's been a survival strategy for ages. Yeah, so then saying no is like, it feels like an unraveling, you know? That's a good point.
No, and I think the thing for me with learning to say no, because like the neurodivergent and the people pleasing to me is another dangerous combination in that I'm light years ahead with my thinking anyway. So if somebody presents an opportunity, I almost always in the past would automatically take it. Right. And then I would get home to have my wife tell me I already had 3 things booked for that day. Right. So I learned I took it upon myself relatively easily that like, nope, we're just going to start saying no. And there was very difficult no's, and in those very difficult no's, I realized one of the reasons that they were becoming so difficult was that I was searching for all the reasons why everything was going to break loose or go bad. And that's what I mean, like this people pleasing for ourselves by saying no. I do believe that we can take a look and go, well, what are the positives if I do say no? And start reframing that focus, because it's a trained mind that we're dealing with.
But I think that's, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that I had anything to say today, but I do. I think, you know, I'm such a big proponent of being like, you should say no to people, and then I can't do it, Like I can't, anybody suggests something and I feel like I have to do it, and I just, like, you're right, like having to say no, I feel like it's a physical feeling in my body. It's not even the brain scan of what could go wrong. It's actually like a physical feeling for me right now. But then it's so easy for me to look at like opportunities and be like, well, like right now I want to say no, but who knows how I'll feel in a few months when that's happening. And like, what if it is a really good opportunity, and am I going to feel like I missed out? Maybe it's worth pushing now, but I'm just having to be really aware of my energy levels and kind of protect my energy, because I'm feeling overwhelmed all the time. So I don't know. I'm sure other people get there too. I'm sure it's not just
I think
me.
we all get there. And I know for myself, a lot of it is the more things I start stacking up that need to be dealt with, or the more problems I start having, more physical issues.
I've never.
But like if it's somebody who invites me somewhere and I don't want to go, or for whatever reason, I've learned that it's easier for me to say no and deal with that discomfort than it is to go spend 2 or 3 days and be discomforted the whole time.
Right. And for me, I still would rather do that
Right.
than just have a little bit of discomfort and get over it.
Right.
I'm learning to not do that. But, I think when you're overall an optimistic person and a positive person, or you try and focus on like what could go right, like then it's harder to say no to things too, right? Because it's like, well, I see the potential there. Right. I see where logically that should be enjoyable or whatever it is.
Right, it should be, but for whatever reason,
right,
other things in our life won't allow that to happen.
Right. Right. And it's, life changes all the time. And just because I'm saying no to something right now doesn't mean I will in a few months even.
Right.
And
yeah. I mean, I think that's the superpower that we all forget we have, is we can make a new choice tomorrow.
Right.
Nothing's set in stone.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, because I've been planning to so I have bears ready to sell, that. And I'm working on these patterns, and it's not quite done yet, but it's getting there. And so I was going to do it, the right way of like doing a drop online and sending out to the mailing list. That's what you're told to do if you're looking into the business side.
Right.
And honestly, just this morning, I'm like, that is just not me. It just feels like too much. So I'm just going to put the bears up on the website and see what happens. So, and I think that kind of thing, because there's so much that I can, and maybe other people don't, but this is that learning yourself, right? Like I can just build it up so much in my mind, and everything has to be perfect. And since I naturally fall to that, I don't think having it's kind of setting myself up for disaster in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about the word perfect, right, it's like you get to a level in all of our arts that whatever we're doing has been perfected at a level that everybody loves. Right. Whether it's your bears, whether it's my paintings, whatever that may be. And I think we discount the fact that being a salesman and going out and marketing your product, it's the same game. You have to learn techniques. Well, like and we were not only techniques that are being used, but techniques that works for each of us individually.
Right. I think that's the big thing is, well, we were just talking about your wife, Jackie, and how she makes jam and jelly, which I know we've mentioned, but like I can see that she's building her confidence in her sales side of it. And I think for you and I, Jackie, creatives, when it's kind of an extension of yourself as the product, it's so easy to focus on getting the product right, and then just kind of discounting the sales side. But then I think you're right in that the sales side has to be like you too, right? Because Jackie's not going to go be some high pressure salesperson, and like that's just not.
Yeah, and the sales, like her sales, I think she's been a best example for me of just watching her progress through sales on larger levels than I ever would as an artist, and kind of all the pitfalls and the loopholes and like everything. You need to be ready. You need to be at a certain level, and the only way to get at that level that you want to be at is you have to go through these processes.
Have to show up.
You have to show up, and they're going to tell you that no, you have the wrong label in the wrong place.
Right.
They're going to tell you that no, we can't take your product because we don't have a barcode.
Right.
I mean, there's all of this stuff, but you have to go into those meetings, get that knowledge, get that information, and move forward in that direction. You can't say, well, I'm not going to do business with them because this is what they require. Right. Because you're going to find out that most stores are going to require the same things.
Right. It's that data collection we've talked about within art too, right?
Yeah, it's the same as going to a gallery. If you want to display at a gallery or submit to a gallery and they're a local gallery, I recommend highly you go in and walk through the gallery.
Yep. Well, and then I know like for me with gallery shows, because it's just been in the last couple years, like I decided to do a small one to start, because then I could show up there with very low pressure, and like you came and helped me hang that one, and I came with like 60 paintings, and you're like, we need to edit this, right? But it's so much easier to do that in a lower pressure environment, because I think that's the thing is it's so easy to discount when you're showing up, whatever it is, in a gallery,
Right.
at a farmer's market, at an art market,
Yep.
and you're not getting the sales. I think we talked with Lori last week too. You're always getting something else out of it, though.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah, I believe almost every venue I've shown at or every opportunity has led to something later.
right. Right. Even if it's a decision that, you know what, I don't want to be in as many galleries.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's unknowing yourself
Right.
and
Yeah, I mean, I set up and did a store for 7 hours, and there was nothing gained other than the knowledge of I don't need to set up in a store.
right.
And that's
Or
great.
handpick your store.
Right, and that's great. Now I know.
Right. Yeah, I think so it is interesting because we've been talking more about making money from your art just off camera than we have in the past. And I picked up Big Magic from talking to Lori last week, and I've been reading it again this week. And she's Elizabeth Gilbert is the author, and she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and so very significantly successful creative person, right? Because it's not like a movie and I actually haven't read that one or watched the movie, but so she was talking about making money as an artist, and she said, this is a person that makes tons of money off of her creative work. She said, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, so if you think I'm wrong, that's fine. But essentially it was, if you go into your creative work thinking of it as a career, you're going to be disappointed.
Yep.
You really need to think of it as a vocation, and really ultimately you need to do it because you love it and not because you're there to make money from it.
Right.
And I think that's a really good point, because if you do go into it thinking it's, like, do you want to be a lawyer or an artist? Like, you're just not going to have the same consistent results of income with being an artist, just realistically. And even if you do have a product that's a hot selling product, people could change their mind, right? Like it's retail, essentially.
It's retail.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
It's just very emotionally charged retail because it's such an extension of ourselves.
Right.
So,
well, we put such independence on it.
You want to say more about that?
I just think we're viewed as rebels and martyrs and vulnerable and weirdos and whatever it looks like.
I'm a weirdo even if I'm not showing up with my art. So.
I'm a starving artist or
it's true.
whatever.
It's true. I mean, it's all just, I think people are going to see what they see based on their own experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So, because I think creative people are really interesting, wonderful people.
Yeah,
and
you do.
So, yeah, and I've never believed in the starving artist mindset.
No.
At the same time, I acknowledge, as somebody who's been a working artist for years, like, yeah, it can be really difficult to make money. And you can be doing awesome and then get the rug pulled out from under you. But, I mean, is that any different than any other retail job?
No, or any factory job or anything else.
Right. Yeah. Nothing's guaranteed, right?
Yeah, no, I think life is just one big experience. So what do you want your experience to be like?
It was one of I get a daily quote, and one of them was like, the life experience is taken on involuntarily or something. And it's like, I can't remember, but I loved that.
Yeah, I didn't have a
involuntarily.
choice to be here.
Right. Right. I just thought that was
But I
funny.
do have a choice of what my tomorrow holds.
How you show up.
How we show up.
Yeah.
And so much of the no's that we get as artists when we go approach places, I've been told no numerous times. But I've realized, like, so much of the no is not based on anything to do with me or my work,
Right.
as much as it's just not the right fit for that business or that place.
Right.
And
But
that- and
when
that-
it is an extension of yourself, all you hear is you're not good enough.
Right, exactly.
Or at least for me.
Right. But I think that's important for us as artists, that we should be grabbing hold of that argument and looking at the world through our lens of what does fit with us.
Right.
What works with us? Where do we want our products? What would be the best fit?
I think
Not
that's
what brings us the most money.
Right.
Not who gets put on the biggest stage.
right.
I don't think you can play that way
Right.
if you want. You're not
I
gonna
mean,
be
if
happy.
that's what you want, but like ultimately, I think if you are a successful artist, like I always bring up Thomas Kincaid, but like I think at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm just making assumptions about this. But at the end of the day, if that's the kind of business you're running and you're selling your puzzles and whatever else he has in Walmart and Costco, like, you're a business person at that point. The creative side is very minimal, and you probably have people doing the creating for you. So I think that's part of,
and you're going to have to, be making enough money. I mean, if you want to be like the super famous, like say Sotheby's level artist, the thing is you have to be successful enough that you're paying a middleman all the time.
Right. Well, then I think about, do you remember? You have to have
representation, you have to have all of that.
Right. So, do you remember Mary Engelbreit from the 90s? So she's still around. And I just think that's such a wonderful case because I mean, my mom loved her stuff. And I'm sure some of it has influenced me with bright colors and kind of her black line outline with the drawing stuff. And her stuff was always just sweet, and it really hit, at the time. And I remember going down to, I think it was Bellevue Square Mall. She had a store in there, and it was a whole store, and you could be, that world building we talk about in that bright, cheerful Mary Engelbreit world. And then, like, all of her stores closed. I don't know when. I haven't looked up but I would assume like 20 plus years ago.
Right.
And she's still around. And I just imagine what that must be like to have risen to that level. And then, ultimately you're coming out the other side. Remember that Mary Engelbreit lady? Like, you know what I mean? It's such I think it's such a good case of you could look like you have everything. And obviously for whatever reason that didn't work out for her. And so.
Or it did.
Or she got what she needed from it.
Right.
But
and
I
then went to have whatever life she wanted.
Right.
And that's the other side of it. We don't know.
Right.
That's why it's all just a moment in time. So
it is.
You can be a knitter today, you can be a quilter tomorrow.
Or both simultaneously.
And you still have to do the business side of it. I mean, I think that's the thing that a lot of artists, one of the more famous comments in my family towards me was, if you would just focus on one thing, you'd be really good and successful.
Right.
Because I have jumped around a lot in my life.
Right.
But I don't necessarily, I think that's a modern society view of, you're just supposed to be a factory worker, you're just supposed to be a carpenter, you're just supposed to be a plumber for your whole life.
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at it just in my artistic career, which we're not calling it a career, but like
endeavor,
my life experience, there we go. My publisher was in business, I think they opened in the 1970s. And if I had stayed on the track of writing books with them, they closed 3 or 4 years ago. So they were open for like 45 years. Right. And so like even that, what if I had just focused on book writing? They're out of business.
Right, and then you have to go find somebody else.
I don't know that is true, that if you just focused on one thing, you'd be
any happier or any better or anything.
And I think it comes back down to that, like, why are you creating, right? So that the big magic, I only read a few pages in this is funny. She was talking about her uncle, I think, and he was also a writer, I believe, and he went to a famous writer's talk, book signing, whatever, and he stood up and he was older and he was like, I'm sure I'm getting this wrong, so forgive me, but basically how I interpreted it was he went and he talked to this famous writer who'd been famous, and they were a similar age and they were similar backgrounds, whatever it was. He felt they were very similar. And he said to this writer, I've been writing for as long as you have and nothing's ever taken off and done anything. What should I keep trying or something? And the author was like, actually, no, quit. If you've been doing it that long and you're expecting a payout from it, quit. But then you're probably going to come back around to it and try other things. And in 5 years, you're going to realize that you've been writing that long because you love it and not because it was meant to be an income thing for you. So I think that helps with the jumping around too, right? Because it's just what you want to be doing.
Yeah. And sometimes I think the quitting of the art, whatever it is, I think can be a good thing, because I think sometimes you're trying to force something into happening.
I think that's a good point.
That may or may not happen by being forced. Like, that's why I'm playing with clay, because I think clay's a really good example of you can't force it.
Right.
You can't rush it.
I mean, you can.
Right.
But you're not going to be
And
happy
that's an
with
own
it.
style in itself. I can definitely,
Right.
I mean, I love the way clay rips. I love the
Right.
texture it leaves on the edges, but it's not necessarily what I want for that project.
Right. Right. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about, the artist trying to fit in the box, and I'm imagining like trying to fit a cat in a box. And I think it's that same thing when you're forcing it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
came to my mind is, yeah, because we're created for a reason. Because, I mean, I'm such a rule follower, but I'm not at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm creative with the rules, but in the end, I follow them. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting. It's so easy for me to feel bad about jumping from thing to thing too, but obviously I'm doing it for a reason, right?
Yeah. And I know it all stacks up. It all stacks up towards something bigger or better.
Right.
And it just, I think for me, it's just coming down to where do I want to spend my time today?
Right.
What do I want to try and finish today, or what
Right.
do I want to start today? And I always have 6 projects going.
Right.
Like there's 4 right now in my studio that I 3 of them I'm undecided whether I'll finish them or not, and that's okay. They're just study pieces that
Right.
took my creativity a different direction.
Right. Right.
Something spawned from them.
You needed that to move on
Yeah.
to whatever the
Yeah.
next thing was.
I think that's the other myth is we don't finish every piece.
I think that one's hard for me. Like, I naturally just don't. Like, I went through and I finished a bunch of quotes and stuff, and I was
Right.
like, I got this. And then I quit finishing, and there's still like a stack of unfinished. But with like the watercolor painting I do, I feel like I have to finish everyone and it has to be perfect. And it's like,
Interesting.
that's just weird. Like, I
It is.
can't just, I'm saying that I think maybe if I sat down and was working on it today, maybe I wouldn't. But I feel like while I was working heavily on it, it was like everyone has to be perfect. And then it just made me not happy, Like, I mean, I enjoy painting, but like,
Yeah, I'm usually, like painting in particular, I'm usually so hyper focused in that if I see something evolve that spawns another project, I'll go on to the other project.
well, I mean, here I am. So,
Yeah. And then sometimes I finish other painting, but many
Right.
times I don't. I just went, oh, that's what that was for. That's why I was doing this.
yeah, I think that's interesting because it is easy to look from the outside at what somebody else is doing and be like, why aren't you just finishing things?
Right.
But, I said to Mr. Danger this morning, he's like, I can't remember, we were out getting groceries. I can't even remember what he said, but he was like, I don't think she should be doing that or something. And I was like, that's the wonderful thing is you don't have to think for
Right.
other people. You
Right,
can
you
let
don't.
them think
Right.
about,
They
right.
can make their own
Right.
choices.
Right. But I do know, and I think as, as artists, creatives, if we're trying to sell our work, we're putting our work out there. And so we're preparing for judgment on things. And so it is easy to lose your own like internal voice in comments from others. Or have something stick and like really stick. I mean, the same kind of thing, right? It could be a protective language that you hold on to at one point and then you can let go later on. Except like your half-finished paintings or a
Right.
painting, maybe you need to hold on to those words from somebody to decide more deeply in yourself. No, actually, I'm good.
Right.
I don't know if that
Right.
makes sense what I'm saying, but
Yeah, it does.
that's good. Or for you if it makes sense.
Right.
Like
Well, I think the thing about having these types of conversations is it's sometimes hard for either one of us to be focused to the other because we have epiphanies going on in our own heads. Or
Yeah.
you and I are both really good at looking at ourselves and being like, oh, that
Right.
resonates.
Right. Well, right, because you're just saying, like, I think we just want to think everything's negative. And sometimes I think those, what we would consider negative thoughts actually can be positive. That sounds even weirder than what I said before.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's all there for a reason.
Right.
And like, difficult people you can look at as difficult or teachers, right?
Right.
That person driving crazy in front of you on the
It's
road.
It's all of our choices.
Do you want to see it as a negative, or do you want to see it as a gift in your life, right? Now, that being said, when I was so overwhelmed this morning that I had to sit on the couch rather than finishing putting groceries away, like that overwhelming feeling is really hard to be like, this is good. This is good that I feel like this, you know?
Right.
But I think it can be, you know, maybe once you get through it.
I think it's just process. I don't think as children we were allowed to or taught to have to process those feelings. Because those are the same feelings as a child that I was probably a screaming kid.
You're absolutely right.
Right? I mean, it just was. But
I'm just having a middle-aged tantrum, that's all it is.
Right. And I think as adults, we're just expected to do this and do that and deal with this and deal with that. And work through this and work through that. And it kind of scares me to realize, like, I'm the adult in the room a lot of times. Like,
that scares me too.
Yeah. So, I think emotions are hard to process and difficult, and I don't think we're allowed to have them as children in a way that we need to. I think, again, I think as a child, like going through emotions and processing all that stuff, that's learning technique. It's the same thing as art.
I realized that
You're learning
with
how
my
to
own
become an
kids.
adult. You're learning how to become emotionally mature.
If you have parents that can help you with that. Otherwise, you're on your own.
On your own. And then it takes years after adulthood to develop, like...
Right. That, you know, like, we all come from our own circumstances, and I'm happy with where I'm at now and all of that, but it didn't... The emotional, like, comprehension and understanding and how to get through emotional stuff didn't come until I had my own children that significantly needed, because they're both high needs and neurodiverse and don't naturally have a lot of the emotional skills that other children. I mean, you can watch them next to other kids and they just don't, they're just different.
Yeah, they just process different.
Right. And so it's been since they've come along that I really had to learn how to, like, process emotions and, like, all of that. I wasn't taught that as a child.
Well, it's because you're like myself. It's big emotions. It's not little emotions.
Right. Everything feels big.
It's not just we're happy. When we're happy, we're overjoyously going to drive you absolutely nuts happy, right?
Yeah.
And when we're sad, the world's crumbling down.
Put the groceries
the sky's
away.
Falling, meteors are crashing into the earth.
Yeah. I have been noticing that, you know, being online, recording myself on video, working towards getting stuff online has been much more emotionally challenging than I realized. And I think there's that documentation of it. And then, like, I found the bears and I got so excited and I was like, yeah. And now I'm, you know, 2 weeks later crying on the couch because the actual, like, what word am I looking for? What it takes to actually get the product out to people and show up that way.
That second and third level effort is difficult. We don't, and I realize for myself, like, I don't process that effort when I think about the idea.
Right.
like the creativity.
I found a bear in a box.
I'll go through the whole thing, how to masterfully build this thing in 2 weeks. And then I just sit there on my hands going, I don't know what to do now.
Right. And then, like, I do have a plan, and, like, implementing the plan feels monumental. Implementing, that's the word I was looking for. And, like, I mean, this sounds so whiny and whatever. I have people on I post pictures of the bears. I'm doing that. I scheduled out some days so that they're getting posted. And people are like, I would like to buy your product. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? Right? Like, it's ridiculous. But
it is kind of ridiculous that we do.
It is. So, yeah. But it's real too. It's ridiculous, but it's like, it's hard to put yourself out there and figure out the logistics and, like.
Yeah, I think doing the podcast has been very beneficial for me because this is putting ourselves out there.
Right.
And I have started viewing this as a product.
Right.
So then I just separate myself from it a little bit. This is what I'm going to say today.
Right.
And I may say something different tomorrow.
It's true. I know I have, because 12, that's a dozen, that's significant. And I'm like thinking back on some of the other ones. I'm like, what did I even I just feel like I've been talking a lot the last 12 weeks.
I think we started this to talk about self-growth through art. And I think people should see growth from us.
I guess I am self-growing through my art right now. So there you go. Spellcast it.
Yeah, talking about the frustrations definitely keeps everything on the forefront of me wanting to resolve some of these issues of like, no, I need to step forward in this.
Right. I think there's definitely an accountability to showing up which I would think with like the markets, like where we met, it's a similar accountability, but this is different, I think. And it's definitely for me more difficult than just setting up at a farmer's market,
Right.
I don't know. And I can't necessarily tell you why, but it's interesting.
It's interesting.
It's all part of the experience. That's what
It's
we say.
all part of the experience.
That's how we get through much of life. It's just saying that. So
And just remember, it's all just a moment.
it is. I think that's and it's easy for me to, what do I want to say, like the knitting specifically, because I did start knitting in middle school, and I started we started making knitting bags first, knitting specific bags, and then I did the patterns for years. I have knitting tattoos, right? There's a lot in there, and I haven't been, what do we want to say, like communicating with yarn recently? That's almost what it, and so I feel like there's a backlog of like, and I could do this and this and this and this, and like, that's exciting, but I'm having to like
Rein it in.
Right. Because otherwise I'm like, that's like 2 years of pattern releases every month, which I can do.
But you still haven't taken a step forward on the business side.
I don't have a pattern up for sale yet.
Right.
So, and it's that, and I think that's part of what's impacting my mood right now is like, I can see, you always call it blue sky dreaming, and I can like see that, but I'm not quite there, and I don't quite, it's like the baby horses when
you don't see the ladder to get there.
Right. Or like the little baby horse when they're learning to walk, and they're like, you're watching them and you're like, how is that horse still standing? They're kind of like wiggly legs, but they make it through. So
they eventually get there.
But it's an uncomfortable feeling.
It's a totally uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah. Right. And then I can already start, once the pattern is up, I can already start the worries on what that looks like.
What that looks like.
It's no wonder I'm tired. Yeah. It's maybe it's not true for everybody, but I don't think it's uncommon to be.
No, I think there's a lot of us that are struggling to figure out where our products belong.
Right. Yeah, I think that's fair. And the market's changing, and the world's changing, and
AI's changing it.
Like my publishers out of business, and the publishing world isn't what it was. And even I'm finding, when I started knitting patterns in 05, like not 05, 09, like I put one up on Etsy, and then like a couple days later somebody bought it, and then a couple days after that somebody else bought it, and then all of a sudden within a few weeks I was selling a pattern every day, and then I was selling multiple patterns every day. And I just feel like, even Instagram for instance, they cut down just this year, you only can have 5 hashtags on something. So like the goalpost there is constantly changing. And so,
and I think that's the thing. We've been, since the 90s, we've been in this technology race that we've all been trying to figure out how to do business in, and it's always modifying, and it's always multiplying, and it's always growing, and it's always changing. So,
right.
And then that becomes difficult for us to take all of that on when we can't afford to pay a web person or a social networking person.
Right. And when we naturally aren't interested in that side of it, we're interested in the creative side. It's hard to be a content creator and an
Yep.
artist, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I think it's fair to acknowledge that too.
Yeah.
So
I think it becomes difficult, especially if you're a perfectionist or something like that, where everything has to be presented a certain way.
that was part of like this week. I'm like, I put all of this effort into these Instagram posts that people are like, and just scroll past it. And I'm like, I have so much drama behind that. Like, yeah. And then somebody's just going to just swipe on by, you know. It's, yeah.
It's a lot of people on there at this point.
There's a lot of people.
It's not like it was. Not
No.
like when Etsy first started up and that
No,
type of thing,
no.
right? So it's a lot of
No.
competition. It's a lot of, there's a lot of bots.
Well, in the algorithm, like Etsy used to just whatever got listed was
Yep.
scrolling on the homepage, which I loved. And then like Regretsy came from it and all of that. And now it's just as much algorithms. And if
Right.
you're playing, I mean, I will see it with my Etsy shop now. Like I'll do something right and I'll get like a couple sales. And then, you know, I'll get a review and then I'll get a couple sales and then nothing. And I don't necessarily think it's me.
Right.
Since I have had a long, I mean, that one's been on there since, I guess, probably 2009, the Danger Craft shop. And like, it's just changed over time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, which I guess change is inevitable, but.
Yeah, or we don't have to.
Well, I feel like I haven't, and now I'm here.
I mean, you could be, any of us could choose to be the artist that just drives around to festivals.
Well, I've done
We
that
could-
too.
I mean, there are ways that we don't have to interact with the social networking world.
It's true.
There is still success to be had there through little gift shops, all kinds of things.
I've done that side of it too,
Mm-hmm.
and I do like staying in my studio. So it's
I
a
think
trade-off.
I think we all do, honestly.
I think a lot of us do.
Yeah, I wish I could just have a little bell on my back door. If you want to buy something, you ring the bell.
That would be nice. And then a whole line of people at the door, right?
Yeah, right. With
is
somebody
good.
escorting them there every day.
Right. How do we make that happen?
Right. How do we make that happen?
Hello, may I please buy something? Yeah, that would be nice.
Right.
I think we all feel that way.
We all feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, just continue to show up. That's
Yeah.
all we can do.
You're
Put
right.
in the effort. Tomorrow's a new day. If today
Tomorrow's
didn't
a
work
new
out
day.
the way you wanted.
Yeah. Or it's working out just how it's supposed to and you don't realize it.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Should we call it?
We
We're
should
gonna
call it.
Okay. Do you want to say your websites?
Yeah,
and-
TomFerryStudio.com, Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, I'm RebeccaDanger.com and Instagram is Rebecca Danger. And I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, we might be.
Darlings Company.
I have the Darlings Company Instagram. I just got Rowelry going again. I don't know. There was something, but I can't remember. You can
Awesome.
email us.
Yeah.
I think that covers it.
Yep. Have a good
I don't
day. Make more art.
Make some art.